Hey, vinyl community, Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and this is the Americana Tag 2026, started by Sam St. John, Americana Sam. I'll put a link to his channel below. And my first selection, the first prompt asks for your favorite 2025 release, and that would be this one, Rhiannon Giddens and Justin Robinson, two-thirds of the original Carolina Chocolate Drops got together and put this album together. What did the blackbird say to the crow? These are old-time tunes, many of which they learned from their mentor, Joe Thompson, and others that were inspired by him and inspired by the music of black string band music and folk music from the past. It comes with a nice little package here. And they recorded this in three different locations, one in the foothills in Morganton at Etta Baker's home place, one at Joe Thompson's home place in Mebane in the central part of the state in Piedmont, and one in the southeastern part of the state at a preserve in or near Red Springs, North Carolina. Second one was used find of this year, and I'll go with this one. Uh, this is on Riverside, and it's called Gospel Blues and Street Songs, Reverend Gary Davis and Pink Anderson. One side is Reverend Gary Davis, and one side is Pink Anderson. These were recorded, I believe, in 1954. There are very few recordings of Pink Anderson. That's specifically why I picked this album up and went searching for this album. Hard to find. Uh, he did his three albums. They just released, talking about Pink Anderson now, they just released the Carolina Blues, reissued the Carolina Blues album. There were two more albums that were released, one after another in the early 60s. And other than those three albums, this is the only other known recordings of Pink Anderson. He was a medicine show performer and a street singer in the Spartanburg, South Carolina area. The third is the last record you got. I buy records in groups and clusters. So I think this is the last batch of what I picked up. This is kind of hard to see this, an APO, Acoustic Productions Originals, I believe, Chatty Cakes out of Kansas. He is recording these direct to disc, but so direct to disc, this is Roscoe Chandler, and this is a blues album. So I think that qualifies as Americana. Blues artist out of Louisiana. Very much a Texas feel on this album, I would say. Very good album. From Acoustic Sounds, Salina, Kansas. That's the name of the town there. And the direct to disc sessions from 2009, Blue Heaven Studios, an old church is where it was recorded. And then show an album with lots of, or with acoustic instruments on it. Just listened to this last night. Bob Brosman and Hello Central, give me Dr. Jazz. And as you can see, these are various resonator guitars and similar instruments, all acoustic instruments, metal made instruments with resonators. That's a violin guitar or a harp guitar right there. And there's a resonator ukulele and something, maybe another resonator ukulele or something a little bit bigger. I don't know what you would call it. And there's a resonator mandolin and lots of resonator instruments. This is a fun album. Uh, I think anybody wanted to pick this up. This is definitely an Americana album if there ever was one. A 50-year-old album, which means it came out in 1976, my junior to senior year in high school. I bought this album when it came out, and it continues to be my favorite John Hartford album. This is Mark Twain. Mark Twain. Great album by one of our great artists. And next we have a Americana type ballad. Share a ballad. I'll go to the album from the Steep Canyon Rangers. They recorded live at Merlefest in either 2018 or 19. The album came out in 2019. Yeah, April 2019, live from Merlefest. And this album is called the North Carolina Songbook, and it features their interpretations of music from various artists who either were born in, raised in, or in some way are strongly connected to the state of North Carolina, where Merlefest is held, where the Steep Canyon Rangers are from. There's a Doc Watson tune, Ola Belle Reed, uh, Elizabeth Cotton, Tommy Jarrell, Thelonious Monk, uh, Earl Scruggs and Charlie Poole, Benny King. They do Stand By Me, so that would be one ballad I might mention. The other would be the James Taylor tune, Sweet Baby James. So, Americana type ballads. Don't judge a book by its cover. Always a good idea. Uh, Bluegrass is definitely a big part of Americana music. And if you think of Americana music not as just what's come since that label has been developed or created to signify certain types of music. But you go back and, as I've been doing with a lot of this, and you think of music that fits that category from the past. Uh, Bluegrass albums often are made on the fly, on very low budgets, and uh, so oftentimes the album covers are not specifically or very creative, or they oftentimes they get out there with a camera and they take a picture in a field. They used to do Stanley Brothers or Ralph Stanley records when Rebel would do an album by them. They'd go in Maryland to the studio, they cut the album, and then they would all put on their suits and they would drive around and look for either a church or a cross in a field or something, and or some background, and they would go stand in front of whatever background that they might find, snap a picture. There's your cover, and there's your back cover. So uh, oftentimes bluegrass music from the 70s, uh, don't judge book by its cover. One of the really good bluegrass bands, the Bluegrass Cardinals. Uh, this is on CMH, interestingly enough, a label out of Los Angeles, but it was recorded at Arthur Smith Studios, and they have some of the poorest covers in the business. Now, uh, a little close up, guys just wearing their jeans and their shirt of the day, sporting their haircuts from the mid to late 70s, and maybe they should have come back a little bit with the photograph because you can see all the imperfections, uh, and you get a really close view of the hairdos as well. Uh, Really good band, really good album, but the cover does not do it justice. And by the way, and a female Americana artist, I think she definitely fits the bill. Indigeno by K.D. Lang is a good example. of her work. This is one from None Such. It's a great album. You can find this sealed still uh, in for sale at a reasonable price. They did a reissue uh, a year or two ago, but you can still find this pressing from 2017, I believe it is, and it's a two record set. On the second record, it's this album played live from an MTV special. But
You swim through my veins, drown me in your rain. My desire carries no shame. My will harbor no pain. Wash me clean, mend my wounded seams, cleanse my tarnished dreams, swim through my veins.
and favorite tune of 2025. I'll show an album, and I could, if I need to, I'll select one of the tunes there. But another great album from this year is Billy Strings and Brian Sutton live at the Legion. And Billy Strings does a lot. He's got a very elaborate show. It's more of a jam band, bluegrass adjacent jam band type performance, delving into some pyrotechnics and some use of electronic equipment, phasers and ray guns and pedals and all that sort of stuff. Uh, but this album, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm glad it's drawing a lot of people into bluegrass acoustic music. But this is not a bluegrass adjacent. This is pretty much it's a bluegrass album in the sense that it's all acoustic and they're playing traditional music, but it's not a bluegrass album and it's not a full band playing with them. It's just an artist that doesn't get their due, doesn't get enough recognition. Uh, First person I thought of, great Leon Redbone. And there he is, one of the very interesting characters. Uh, he was born and raised in Cyprus, Algerian ancestry, moved to Canada, uh, and created this Leon Redbone persona uh, that he never delved from in his professional career. He went into this character and stayed there for years and years. And an artist who is not from my country, he's not from the United States then. And it's John Renbourn and Stefan Grossman. John Renbourn being from the UK. Grossman, U.S. Person, I believe. But John Renbourn, that folk tradition in the UK, he. But his albums with Stefan Grossman and solo and with his own group, John Renbourn is an excellent artist. And finally, as far as recommending any one person to take up the mantle and do this tag, instead of doing that, I'm just going to urge all of you, if you've got any interest at all in Americana music, go ahead and do this tag. Uh, if you can't answer all the questions, that's all right. Just skip them or make up one to replace it and keep going. It doesn't matter. These are tags are always fun, and so I hope everybody will join in. So do the tag, folks. I'll just leave by reminding everybody that we are all neighbors, and it's hard for us sometimes to turn the other cheek or to let go of things. I'm dealing with letting go of a little something that went on a couple of years ago right now within the VC community. I'm going to try to do my best just to let it go. Uh, but let's all try to be kind to our neighbors, folks, because remember, we're all neighbors. Leave a lot more love in this world and a lot less hate. Take care.